Alright guys, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to another video. We're heading back into the legendary GT Goku event, this time with the LR KAIOKEN Goku. But before we do get into it, if you could drop a like, subscribe if you're new, all the support is very much appreciated. And this is one, even though my boy Jeets is pretty wonky, this is one I'm a little bit nervous with. I'm not gonna lie, I am a little bit nervous with this one, just because his defense isn't an don't get me wrong, his defense after he super attacks, especially on an 18 key, which as I said several times, is just never an issue. Is never an issue getting his 18 key off. But his defense just isn't good enough where you don't have to worry about him. I do think once you use like a Whis, once you use an item, he should be good. He may still tank, you know, not the greatest, especially in the latter phases, especially if he gets supered. But he won't get you killed, I'm pretty sure. But even though Vegeta is a little bit wonky defensively, he does have guard. But KAIOKEN Goku, it's the defense he gets. The attack and defense when performing a super attack, then massively raising the attack and defense on super, or an 18 key specifically. So there is that. I am very intrigued to see how much damage he's open to taking. I do think, again, he won't get you killed, but he could still be open to a bit of damage. So I do think he's the type of guy you want to be using items with. Of course, we are in the Goku event, so he's not getting the extra key plus 3 and attack plus 70%. Of course, he'll get that when we take him into the Vegeta event. So he's not doing as much damage as he possibly can, which is a little bit of a shame, obviously. But this guy just has ridiculous amounts of offense anyway. So he should be putting out some pretty good numbers. He does have type advantage here. I did decide to bring these two just because they're so dominant, and in terms of the links you can actually get off. I mean, you're only really ever getting off Kamehameha, Shocking Speed, Legendary Power. You can take the EZA Beam Struggle KAIOKEN Goku as well, and you get off Z Fighters. It's only an extra attack plus 5%. But, you know, I thought why not just use the SSJ4. So we've gotten some orbs. Again, there is no additional attack plus 70%, but he should still be putting out some pretty beefy numbers. Even if he doesn't. I mean, he's getting super attack straight away. This shouldn't do... I mean, yeah, 52k. Makes sense. Yeah, 5.4 mil. Just 5.4 mil like that. It is going to be curious to see how he does. Because for the most part, he really isn't an issue for him, so getting his 18 key off is relatively easy. So you're always massively raising his attack and defense, which means you're always doing as much damage as you possibly can. You always have his defense in like the best possible spot as well. You know. But you know, when it comes down to it, when it really comes down to it, I'm kind of curious how he's going to do. I mean, so far in showcases, when he loses the key plus 7 after 7 turns, which with this being a longer event where you're going way past that, that's going to be noticeable. But I am curious if key at one point may arise as an issue, because, you know, he does still raise attack and defense on his 12th. But 30% compared to 100%, and considering his defense isn't the best, it's not bad, but it's definitely not the best, would obviously leave him open to quite a bit of damage. So, you know, I'm kind of curious to see if we're gonna have one of those rotations where just orb placement is just not for us. Like, orb placement is terrible, and really see how he does, like, if we're going to struggle. Of course, he is his own orb changer. He does change random key spheres to strength key spheres, which is great, especially considering after 7 turns, he is going to lose that additional key plus 7. But after he loses that, and we're not facing a Vegeta enemy, which means we don't have the extra key plus 3 for facing the Vegeta enemy, after 7 turns, we're pretty much going to be relying on mainly just the fact that he changes random key spheres to strength key spheres. So again, if orb placement isn't kind to us, which so far it still is, but I mean right now it doesn't really matter. How many links do you actually share with them too? No, you miss out. You miss out. I mean, I'll carry on doing what I'm doing. You know, like here, I mean, we're fine. But like, how often are we going to get this perfect setup for us? It is kind of what I'm going for. I mean, we're going to do this because ideally we want him in slot 2. We don't want him in slot 1, especially with type advantage, even this early on in the event. But yeah, I reckon KAIOKEN Goku, even though how good he is, I reckon he's going to be open to quite a bit of damage by the time we get to full power SSJ 4 Goku. We'll be doing good damage back to him, don't get me wrong, like over 5 mil attack stats. And again, I'd really love to have a dupe to, you know, especially to hit an 18 key, massive ratio attack and defense, then hit another one on a 12 and ratio attack and defense again, only by 30%. But again, I'd really love to have a dupe in him to hit an additional. Like, it would be very handy. But I'm really curious about what's going to happen with this guy near the end. I will do this. We'll give you these. Do this to put up your defense while you have type advantage. Type disadvantage. I just remembered as well. I wonder how much damage you're going to take against the Great Ape phase, because that's where the damage starts to ramp up a bit, and then of course it calms down against SSJ 4 Goku a little bit. But I wonder how much it's going to take against him. Really have to hope you don't catch him on a super. Really have to hope you don't catch him on a super and hope that crit chance, that high chance to crit comes off. As I said, he's going to be putting out fantastic damage, and the fact he has a high chance to crit is great. It means he's doing like double that, which is fantastic. But he's also, in a longer event like this, he's going to be open to a bit more damage, which is the worrying part. So he's kind of giving as good as he's going to get. And of course, even if we get his active skill off, which will do very nice damage, and you'll do a bit of extra damage for like an extra turn or so, that's good, that's nice. But, there is a but. He can't stun here. So, you know, while in ESBR, he may do like, on his active rush being supered, how much is going to do with type advantage? Yeah, 118k. He's definitely taking 28k on basic. I know he hasn't super attacked yet, but that is with type advantage. So yeah, he's definitely going to have to be a unit that he is still valuable here. He still has a presence. I mean, 4.7 on a crit. He still is valuable here. Like, he still does very good damage, and he's not terrible defensively, especially once he super attacks. Obviously, that would have done quite a bit less, but he still would have taken a fair chunk, considering he does have type advantage there. But yeah, I'm not gonna lie. He's definitely gonna be a unit you want to watch for supers. So you're definitely going to want to conserve some items, especially for latter phases in a longer event like this and Vegeta event, especially. Oh, damn, that's going to be a test while you have type disadvantage against SSB. You're definitely going to want to use your items around him, which is, I mean, is okay. Again, it's kind of like that trade-off where he's doing so much damage, especially if that high chance to crit comes off. And again, if you have dupes and you're hitting additionals and getting extra crits, etc., even better. But it's kind of that trade-off of he's doing a lot of damage, but also he's open to taking quite a bit of damage back. But it's kind of that trade-off of like, you know, as long as you're being smart, you know, you're not putting him in dangerous scenarios. I mean, if you were to take him realistically in an event like this, at one point, you know, or even at this point, but at one point in this event, on this run, you probably would actually float him off and just let him, you know, hopefully get your 18 keys and just let him do all the damage while trying to keep him as safe as possible. So you don't take too much damage or don't pick up a super. You know, obviously there's chances you take a Randy super at the end of the turn that has like one attack, you know them Dokkan type things. But yeah, I mean, you probably actually run him as a floater here, just because it would be a lot less risky, and you can, you know, you have less risk for the high reward, where having him on main rotation, which obviously I'm gonna do for the video's sake, is high risk, high reward. How many links do you share with Gohan? Just coming away on legendary power. That's actually not bad. I mean, you lost key links. I mean, we've actually lost the key +7 right now, but orb change is looking good for us. Maybe I actually run him on rotation with Gohan for now. I mean, we lose shock in speed, which in some points may actually be a detriment, but for now it's actually kind of okay. I mean, he's taking the same attacks regardless of where we put him. I really want to see how much damage he takes on a basic without an item, but I feel like I'm gonna have to use one. Like, I don't really have a choice. Yeah, I feel like I'm gonna have to do it. I mean, I can kind of tell what he's gonna be taking without the Whis active anyway. Kind of hoping he doesn't get supered. But again, considering how much damage he does, he's still valuable. It is worth taking him, but you probably want to, yeah, 3.5 mil crit. I mean, double digits with a Whis active against Great Ape. He's taking double digits on a basic. That's pretty decent. But it's one of those, he's one of them units you don't really want to risk him here. Like, you don't want to risk him on this phase because of how much damage he could take, especially if he was to get supered. But I think realistically, at some points, depending on the phase you're doing, or to be honest, also the teams you could, like the units you could bring on the team, because he goes on a lot of great teams, he's surrounded by a lot of great units, as you can see here on this Kamehameha category. You're probably going to float him, which is probably obviously the much safer bet. You're less likely to take attacks. You know, there's some points where you're going to take a bunch. That's just naturally what happens. But for the most part, slot 3 is kind of safe. Have him floating, get him doing all the big damage he can do while being at less risk. I can definitely see that being a kind of viable strategy in ways of using him. I mean, we still have the Whis active, so I mean, even if Great Ape survives, which, nah, he's definitely not going to survive because he's pretty much about to go into his second bar of health. I was going to say, even if he does survive, I mean, I've still got the Whis active, so we're taking no damage this rotation. I mean, at least confirmed with using an item, with using a Whis here, even on like one of the hardest hitting phases, probably like the second hardest hitting phase, he's taking double digits on basics, which is good. Obviously, on a super, he would have taken a lot more, but it wouldn't have been too much. It wouldn't have been too much based on what that was. Alright, we're definitely doing this. See, this is where the key +7, where you may run into issues, because there's loads of attacks here, and he's not the greatest defensively. Again, he's decent, especially after supering. Obviously, the best bet is just to do this. But, I mean, that shocking speed link is actually, we're missing that right now. Maybe I have to get the SSJ4s back on. So with him having no key links right now, and then being multiple attacks here, I need Gohan to be here. Which means we may not actually get his 18 key off. Which actually, no, we may get it off. We just may get, no, we're actually like just a few keys short, yeah. These are some of the scenarios where losing his key +7 is going to be coming in. Alright, that means we're only going to raise his attack and defense by 30% this turn. I mean, it's not the worst. At least he's raising his defense a little bit, and we do have full health. His 12 key, I haven't actually used him yet and got his 12 key off. Like, I haven't seen his 12 key since he was revealed on Twitter of his animations. I mean, it's a good thing SSJ for Goku's attacking Gohan on the super, so that means he can kind of get away with it. But I wonder how much he's going to... Okay, that was quite a bit. But how much is he going to take on the basics? How many taking? 2? Yeah, 2. I literally haven't seen his animation since the reveal. Like, you just hardly ever see this Don get a 12 key off. Double digits! I mean, literally, on a 12 key, when he's only raising his attack and defense by 30%, no item, he's tanking double digits. So he's still tanking very well. Double digits in an event like this, very good. Red Zone, probably not going to be the same. I'm not going to lie, he's probably going to be taking a bit on basics, especially latter phases. I think that's just, majority of units, that's bound to happen. But, I mean, yeah. I mean, he's tanking good. I'm really curious of how much he would take on a super there, but I think he'd probably take quite a bit, I'm not going to lie. But double digits on basics is pretty good, especially again for the fact he didn't massively raise his attack and defense of the turn. He didn't get the 18 key off, he got the 12 instead, which is only 30%. So I mean that's good. At least in the latter phases, he's still tanking for double digits, even if you're not hitting the 18 key and raising your attack and defense by 100%. So that's still pretty impressive. Again, for a unit that doesn't have guard or damage reduction or evade, that's still pretty good. So yeah, I'm definitely thinking on a super, especially with the 18 key, probably won't get you killed, but he's probably going to take a little bit of damage. Quite a bit of damage. And with an item, you're probably going to be good. Let's see, additional in the SSJ4s. I mean, I can't complain, he's doing well. He's doing well. And again, considering how much damage he's doing as well, and having a 50% chance to crit where he's doing like 3 more crits, maybe even 4. I mean, he did do 4, but that was with type advantage. But between 2 and 4 mil crits, he's doing very well. Like, very, very well. That's fine. You can sweep the SSJ4s. Yeah, that's calm. But he's doing very well. Very well. Still not low enough to get his active off. Again, we're in a spot. Again, not having, to be fair, we do have Shocking Speed actually active. We could actually put him in slot 1 if we did this. But if we get supered first, that's a little bit risky. Like, he's tanking well, but having him tank without raising his attack and defense at all for the turn is a little bit risky. To be fair, we can just do this, which is fine. And then we'll give him all of these. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely not... Once he loses the key +7 for 7 turns, you know, we're 12 turns deep right now, it's definitely not terrible. Like, his key situation doesn't become awful. I mean, I think that's quite plain to see. It's not, you're not sitting there right now going, oh, I can never get his 18 key off. Like, that's just not the case. But there's definitely scenarios where, depending on the rotation he is on, who you're running him with, if he's on main rotation or floating, and again, even who he's linked up with there, you know, and how many key links you're getting active, and, you know, who needs to take the orbs over who, because of how many attacks are coming, you know, who can super and actually block them, you know, all those type of factors that you have in your runs in Dokkan. It's definitely not becoming an issue, but at some points, you may not always get the 18 key off. It's not going to happen often, like, definitely not. I mean, we're still hitting the 18 keys. It's definitely not going to happen often, but it's definitely becoming a lot more apparent than I originally thought it would. But he's still doing fine for key. I mean, as I said, he's not in a terrible scenario where he's just never getting his 18 key off. You know, you need the key +7. He's terrible here in a longer event. He's lost it. You know, we're not facing a Vegeta enemy, so we don't have the extra key +3 for, like, extra padding, which, when we do the Vegeta event run, having the key +3 and after we lose the key +7, he's definitely going to be okay at always getting the 18 key. But, you know, as I said, it's definitely becoming a little bit more apparent in this run, but it's still not in a scenario where you're like, oh my god, I can never get the 18 key off, I can never get that 100% attack and defense when supering. That's not really an issue. As I said, there may arise a time where it's like, oh, maybe I give the orbs to this guy because he needs them. You know, he needs to super to raise his attack and defense or raise his defense or something. You know, again, depending on who you're running him with, how many key links you have off, you know, if you actually have him on main rotation or floating him. But he's still doing well. He's still doing well. I mean, they're definitely coming back. We're gonna do this. And obviously, once you transform them, once you fuse them, they keep the same links, so they're good. It's not going to affect KAIOKEN Goku at all. But I wonder how he's going to do here against full power stage 4 Goku. Again, the damage output is still going to be very good, but I wonder how much he's going to be tanking for. I mean, he's taking 2 attacks in slot 2 right there. See, these two are kind of good. I'm going to use a Whis, again, just to be safe. Give all of these to Goku so we can get some health back as well. And so Gohan's fine. I mean, he does have over 300k health, but he does have type disadvantage as well. Okay, it's probably a good thing I used the Whis, so KAIOKEN Goku isn't being supered. So the Whis active on a basic after supering, especially on the 18, he's definitely going to be tanking for double digits. But he's doing well. He's doing really, really well. Again, it's very evident as to why he's one of the better yellow coin or gold coin LRs in the game. It's very apparent as to why. Like, my man's not even getting the majority of his links active, which I know are key links, which you would think would be necessary to get off because, again, he's lost key +7, but he has one of them pretty much active, and for like 2 turns we had no key link active, and he's still fine, and that's because of the orb changing. So it's like any defects he would have are he kind of backs himself up, so they're not issues. Strong independent saying right there, as I'll be saying. I mean, you're not doing any damage, it's fine, but you're raising your defense, which is the important part. But he's doing well. He's doing very, very well. I am very impressed with this KAIOKEN Goku. He is so good. So, so good. Oh yeah, we are taking no damage this turn. I mean, we may take a little bit at the end, but up the top here, yeah, we're good. Especially because the Whis is still active. We'll save those rainbow key spheres for you, so you can hit the 18 key. Hit an additional and you can raise your attack and defense twice. But yeah, he's very good. This is another unit where I would like some dupes. Like, I would really like, not as much as the year 7 units, like the actual, you know, SSJ4s and gods. You know, because that triple super is very good to have, especially in red zone. But this is another unit where I'd really like at least just, I'd like just a dupe. Because again, I mean, he does good damage anyway, especially like an ideal setup. He does ridiculous damage, and you know, you're talking like 8-9 mil. You hit an additional after massive raise your attack and defense. He's going to raise his attack and defense again, this time by 30%. Obviously not as much, but that still means he's doing a bit of extra damage. You know, you have a high chance to crit anyway. You might have an extra, you know, you've got even more of a chance to crit because of the dupe system. Like, think about how much damage he would do combined of just one additional. Yeah, I'd really like a dupe on him. I'd actually really like a dupe on him. That's fine, yeah, only 54k. We're probably not going to be able to get his active off because we're not taking enough damage to get it off. Oh, we might as well pop this, see where the super's coming from. If it is in slot 2, I'm very tempted to let KAIOKEN Goku take it and see how much damage he's going to tank for. Or maybe we're not going to get super at all. Maybe we're not going to find out. To be fair, I get quite unlucky with my own units RNG when I'm like, yeah, get an additional, I want you to get a crit. But when it comes to times where I'm like, oh, I kind of want to see how much damage this guy is going to take. I mean, look, we're not getting supered. we're not getting supered once. When it comes to the enemy, when I'm doing like showcase videos, I don't get it. It doesn't happen. Oh, this is actually a time where he's actually struggling for ki. This is literally one of the very few times where it's like, oh, yeah, that ki +7's kind of affected him. But that's literally been one turn out of, you know, what turn are we on now? 16. One turn since turn 7, after turn 7, so turn 8. 8 turns have gone by, and this is the only time orb placement has been a bit bad for us, where we haven't got his 18 ki off because of the orb placement and because he's lost all the extra ki. You know, again, if we were facing a Vegeta enemy right there, we would have got his 18 ki off because the extra ki +3 would have got. So yeah, I mean, even though he's lost it, he's still doing well at getting the 18 ki. That's still not an issue. But this has been the one time where he's not been able to get it whatsoever. Yeah, double digits after hitting a 12 ki against full power J4 Goku. That's pretty good. Again, on a super, definitely won't get you killed. Judging by how much he's taken there on a 12, by only raising his attack and defense by 30% for the turn, attacking double digits with no item. On a super, he would definitely take a little bit of a chunk. Won't get you killed though. Especially if you're hitting the 18 ki, he won't get you killed though. He's a very, very good unit, and he is a lot of fun to use as well, like a lot of fun to use. I'm really glad I pulled him. To be fair, before I summoned with the tickets, I mean, I was going to use the tickets on the TOP banner in part 2 anyway, just for content, and do a few summons, again, just for content with stones. And I wasn't really fussed if I pulled one of them. Obviously, it would have been nice, because, you know, if you use stones, you kind of want to pull the unit that you're summoning for. I wasn't really too concerned about pulling either of them, but I'm not gonna lie, KAIOKEN Goku was a lot of fun to use, and I'm glad I managed to get him, because he is very good. Very, very good. He was never an issue in this event once. Even his ki wasn't that much of an issue at all. I mean, yeah, I'm impressed. I'm very impressed, although SSBE is probably going to be a different story when it comes to the Vegeta event. A whole different story. But don't forget to drop a like, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next video, guys. And push!